Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Thursday. In Paul's epistle to the Romans, he deals with a lot of practical Christian life. And in chapter 12 and verse 12, he says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. Each of these triplets that Paul mentions in these verses here seem to be leading up to a climax. They build one upon the other until the end of that verse. He begins here by saying that we should be rejoicing in hope. This hope should be the crowning emotion or sentiment for the Christian, realizing that God so loved the world that he sent his only son. And when we believe in him, we have the guarantee of eternal life, the guarantee of forgiveness and salvation here, and eternal life in heaven when we leave this world, for everyone who believes. Now, that is a wonderful hope. We don't have to face death like those in this world without any hope. We have the promise that when this life is over, eternal life in heaven is our reward. So Paul says we should rejoice in that hope. Every day that we live, we're to be thankful and rejoicing that we have a hope of eternity. And then he goes on to say that they should also be patient in tribulation. This means persevering, continuing right through some of the most difficult times in life that we face. The New Testament church knew what this meant. They were persecuted. They were always facing some sort of trial and tribulation. And they were persecuted by the Jews because they left their traditional religion. They were persecuted by the Romans because everybody in that day was persecuted by the Romans. And sometimes they were ostracized by family and even lost their job because of their faith. We don't have any idea of what it was like for the New Testament church Christians to face the tribulations that they faced. But Paul admonished them to be patient and persevere through all this. Now, what is it that enables a person to persevere through tribulation? It is the idea that we're still rejoicing in that hope, remember? That hope ought to carry us through some of the troubles in life. This life, you realize, is just a staging ground for the Christian anyway. God is working on us and preparing us for heaven. Remember that we are just strangers and pilgrims as we pass through this world below. So finally, he says, continuing steadfastly in prayer. Now, this seems to be the secret both for rejoicing in hope, as a reminder every day, or as a way to be patient and persevere through our tribulation. We spend a part of our day communing with the Father and steadfastly doing that, continuing. That means that our prayer life ought to be like what Paul said, pray without ceasing. And when we do, we will learn better how to rejoice in hope and certainly be able to persevere through the tribulations. It means our prayer life ought to remind us when we talk to God what God has given us as a hope of eternity. And whenever we bring our troubles and our tribulations to him, it helps us to realize he cares for us and he carries us through those troubling times.